Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys doing well. Today is November 14th, and it is Friday. Hopefully, all you guys have wonderful plans for the weekend. I myself will be going out and playing the Pokemon Go Wild Area event, which is why there will be no episodes this weekend of the news recap. I might try and put another episode of something else in there, but there's nothing confirmed. It's just a maybe. With that being said, though, hopefully all you guys are doing well. It's definitely been a very interesting day in the news world. But I would like to say thank you all so much for helping me hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. I believe we're like at 530 now, which is insane. Thank you all so much. I truly, truly appreciate it. Let's hit 1,000 next. That's the next goal. Let's try and hit 1,000. I don't really have a specific time as of when, but hitting 1,000 in the next year would be really cool. So let's try and get that done. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in life. Like groceries, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. With that being said, let's get into the news from today. Moving on into the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have today is Pete Hegseth has announced a major military operation. Pete Hegseth has announced a major military operation in the Caribbean against Venezuela. Hegseth wrote in a post on Twitter last night, President Trump ordered action and the Department of War is delivering. Today I am announcing Operation Southern Spear, led by Joint Task Force Southern Spear and Southcom. This mission defends our homeland, removes narco-terrorists from our hemisphere, and secures our homeland from the drugs that killed people. And the Western Hemisphere is America's neighborhood, and we will protect it. There's a cat. Hello, Ducky. He yearns for the spotlight once again. Okay, anyways, what a way to distract from the Epstein files, truly. I mean, let's be real. This is a great way to do that by starting a massive war. A war that isn't even necessary in the first place. No more new wars. That's what they said. Don't forget it. But here we are. And I also don't remember hearing about any congressional approval for this either. Where is that at? Nowhere to be seen because the Trump administration continues to break the law. In other news, Trump is withdrawing Biden's plan to force airlines, to pay passengers for flight delays. The Trump administration has announced it is withdrawing a Biden-era plan to pay out passengers cash compensations for flight disruptions caused by airlines. The Biden plan required airlines to pay $200 to $300 for flight delays of at least 3 hours and up to $775 for delays even longer. This is absolutely dumb. If an airline screws up, passengers should be compensated, especially if they're on the plane already. I mean, I would be pissed off if I had to sit in a plane just for it to not go anywhere for multiple hours. Once again, Trump is taking away something that helps you, the American citizen, which it shows that he still does not care about the American people, something he has continuously showed throughout this entire administration. In other news, Trump has ordered the Department of Justice to use the Epstein files to target Democrats. Trump is now back on Truth Social demanding the Department of Justice to look at the Democrats in the files. This time he said, now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try and deflect their disastrous shutdown and all other failures, I will be asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, JP Morgan, Chase, and so many other institutions to determine what is going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all arrows pointing to the Democrats. Records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Stay tuned. He is clearly just saying this because he knows he's screwed. Trump is cooked. He really is. With all the information that has been coming out with these emails, it not only says a lot about Trump's connection to Epstein, but it says that Trump is in the Epstein files. Just yesterday, we talked about the fact that Trump knew that the girls are around. He knew that these girls existed. And not only that, he spent time with multiple of these girls at Jeffrey Epstein's home. I mean, it's time to prepare for JD Vance with all of this information coming out because he is next. They are probably going to phase out Trump here, and JD Vance is going to be pushed into office, which is going to be a lot worse, just as I have said time and time again. JD Vance is Peter Thiel's puppet, and unfortunately, when the tech feudal lords start coming, it's not going to be very great. In other news, Trump is forcing every SNAP recipient to reapply. Of course, they do have to do this every 6 months, but this is something that he is making them doing for some reason. The Trump administration will now be requiring SNAP recipients to reapply for food stamps in order to crack down on fraud. According to the Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins, Rollins said on Newsmax that she plans to have everyone reapply for their benefits to make sure that everyone is taking taxpayer funded benefits through food stamps that are literally vulnerable and they can't survive without it. I have a small feeling that this isn't just going to be rooting out fraud. As unfortunate as that is, I would not be shocked if they ended up kicking off people who actually need these benefits. I mean, that's just how this administration, unfortunately, kind of rolls. There is no reason why people should have to reapply, but I hope they allow as many as possible to continue to receive these benefits because people need them. That's why they exist in the first place, and if someone needs them, they should be able to get them. Anyways, moving on into the files, where we have one really interesting segment here tonight that I think is really interesting to discuss. Of course, it is also the title of this video, as Trump has previously blown Bubba. For those who don't know, Bubba is a nickname for former President Bill Clinton. I think we all know what blowing means. Another email from the Epstein files has been released, and it references Donald Trump blowing Bubba, a nickname for former President Bill Clinton, referring to Trump giving Clinton a blowjob, also providing a reference photo of Trump grabbing Clinton's bulge. An email from March of 2018 was sent by Mark Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein asking to ask Steve Bannon if Putin had the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. You know, I just want to give a huge congratulations to our first two ever LGBTQ presidents. Good for the both of them, truly. Round of applause. Outside of that, though, I will say this is very funny. I'm going to be so honest. I mean, no wonder why Republican events continuously crash gay dating apps at conventions. You know, it's kind of crazy that, Trump was a bottom for a Democrat as well. You didn't think that would happen, did you? But hey, to each their own. No judgment here. I can't wait to see how MAGA defends this one. But from what I've heard, a lot of people believe that MAGA is going to jump ship because of this one. We'll see how that one goes. But I find it hilarious that Trump was willing to blow a former president, and not only that, a Democrat at that. Isn't that interesting? The radical left, he decided to blow one. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment where we have two final topics for tonight. Changing the Pentagon's name to the Department of War is going to cost taxpayers $2 billion. The Trump administration's plan to change the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War could cost taxpayers as much as $2 billion. The change must also be approved by Congress. Will have to replace thousands of signs, placards, badges, and so much more on military sites around the world. New signs and letterhead would cost about $1 billion alone, and it would cost so much money to do this as a whole. Whatever happened to Doge? Because this kind of seems like some wasteful spending. This really does seem like a waste and something that should be cut out on. Why are we spending taxpayer dollars on this, truly? It really seems like since Musk and Trump had their breakup, Doge hasn't really been active. It almost seems like that itself was a waste of time. Just like this and so many other things that this administration does, and they continue to do. Just like this. Anyways, moving on into our final topic for tonight, Indiana will not be redistricting. Indiana senators will not be convening to redistrict the state in December, despite a push from Trump. A statement from Senate Pro Temp Roderick Bray said, Over the last several months, Senate Republicans have given serious and thoughtful consideration to the concept of redrawing our state's congressional maps. I'm announcing that there are not enough voters to move the idea forward and that the Senate will not reconvene in December. This is great news, of course. It helps combat and fight for free, fair elections and free, fair midterms, which is something that we need. And it also supports democracy, as constituents likely wouldn't have had a voice on this at all, which is great. Good for Indiana. Hopefully, midterms go well. A blue wave is on the way, and hopefully that means change is also on the way. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. It has definitely been a very interesting day in the news world. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated as we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. Still can't believe I'm saying that. I'll get used to it eventually. Once again, thank you all so much for 500 subscribers on YouTube. It truly does mean the world to me. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like groceries, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. We're out here building a political platform, so if you're interested in supporting someone who believes in a country that actually cares about its people, providing better rights, better immigration systems, free college education, and so many other things like free healthcare and all of that, drop a subscribe, because that's my goal when I make it into office. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching today's episode, and I will see you all, I believe, on Monday, probably, unless I do something throughout the weekend. That being said, have a good